1 Million EDT opens up with a blend of leather, rose, and its citrus notes, orange and grapefruit. This combination gives the fragrance a sort of grape bubblegum-like aroma. It's sweet and warm, with an ever-increasing spice coming from mostly cinnamon, but also a cooling mint. All of this is surrounded by the embrace of an amber note, helping to give 1 Million some of its boldness and thickness. 1 Million Royal opens up with a blend of notes vying for your attention. The mandarin orange and bergamot citrus are sitting on top of the mix, giving this an initial lightness and brightness. Underneath, the warm spiciness of the cardamom and benzoin notes are already coming through. Royal will have more of a cardamom spice versus other notes here, but early I get a decent amount of sage and a touch of patchouli. The latter is only noticeably if I really focus and basically press my nose up against where I sprayed. As we move along, the spiciness will tone down. I start to get a greater ratio of the lavender versus the cardamom, and the benzoin will also begin to claim the top spot. Which do I like more? While Royal has a very good opening act that I enjoy greatly, I still prefer what 1 Million brings to the table. 1 Million EDT used to be quite a strong fragrance. If we were talking about older bottles, it'd take this category for sure. Now it's still got a strong start, but moderates much more quickly than in the past. Royal isn't a heavy fragrance, though it has a lot more power than you think that it does. It's kind of diffuse, and the cloud that it creates around you is much more like a mist for most of the wear. I'd say at its peak, Royal is probably a 5 to 8 foot radius cologne in terms of its projection. After that, it's going to spend a ton of time in that 3 to 4 foot range. Not bearing down on you, but I've noticed it hanging around without having to press my nose to my skin. Which packs more punch? Nowadays, these two are about even with what they provide. 1 Million EDT feels a bit heavier, but it doesn't project itself any further in my experience with each. Older bottles of 1 Million would last well past 10 hours on my skin. With my latest bottle, that number sits closer to 8. It's taken a step back for sure with its performance. Royal, on the other hand, gets me about 8 to 8.5 hours of wear. Has never been a super long-lasting cologne, but it matches what I get with the EDT. In this category, I'll call it an even match. So neither of these fragrances are going to be an office wear scent or something for formal occasions. Pretty much casual scenarios, nightlife, etc. Each feels more appropriate in autumn and winter. However, they can also be worn at night in the spring if it's not too hot or humid out. Both of them trends younger, but neither is completely juvenile. Both have more of a fun and mass-appealing style versus being anything too refined or serious. I don't really see a distinction in this category either. Overall, which of these two colognes do I prefer? It's a very even match in terms of how each fragrance performs, but which one of them smells better? With Royal, I do like the change of pace. I like the warmth and spiciness that it provides, while still having some of the citrus notes in the benzoin in the dry down period. I go back and forth between preferring 1 Million Elixir and Royal. Those are my second and third favorites from the line, based on what's available right now. However, I still like the EDT a bit more than those two. Privé was my favorite, but now 1 Million EDT is still the one that I'd go with. I enjoy the opening act with the leather and citrus a bit more than the start of Royal. With the newer cologne, the opening is my favorite part of it, but it's still not as good as 1 Million. Plus, the original is better in the dry down. It doesn't have the same power that it once did, but it is the more interesting fragrance for the entirety of the wear. Royal has a great start, but the rest of it isn't nearly as good, so I'm picking the original 1 Million here.